1 of the Clark Cup Finals. Sioux Falls and the Chicago Steel. Berglick does, he scores! Played here to the far wall, they score. Oh, from the left point, we're tied at 2.
It doesn't bring you back. Blue on black.
Left side, Westcott, one-timer, he scores!
If you thought the first act was good, I got something for you in this one. After a 3-2 win to open the Clark Cup Finals, the Stampede have a chance to push the Chicago Steel to the brink of elimination if they can win Game 2 tonight. Do that, and the Herd will have a chance to close out the series in Chicago next week, meaning tonight could be the last time fans in Sioux Falls get to cheer on the Stampede at the Premier Center. They've won 29 of the 37 games they've played at the Denny, including all 6 in the postseason, but it was Chicago that controlled the first. Gunnar Wolf Fontaine, that's his real name, off the bar and in. The Steel dominated early, but they only led 1-0, and that allowed the opportunistic Herd to pull even in the second. Max Crozier, wicked wrist. We are tied at 1-1 after 2 periods of play. However, in the third period, Chicago gets a power play after the Stampede are called for a penalty. Steel take advantage. Robert Mastrosimone roofs it on the one-timer. 2-1 Chicago. Looks like they're going to win this thing with less than 3 minutes to go. Stampede with a face-off. Blink and you'll miss this. Sam Stevens scores on the face-off. I've never seen a goal like this, so we got to have one more look at it. He straight up shoots it on the face-off and gets it in. That ties the game. We go to overtime for the 4th time in the postseason. Chicago had a power play in the extra session. Jackson Stauber was powerful in net. He had 30 saves on the night. We would go to a second overtime, and Scott Owen's team found the hero, Andre Lee. Great move. Good night, and drive home safely. The Stampede do it again. Another hard-stopping finish, 3-2 in double overtime. They're 1 win away from the Clark Cup.
I thought I was going to slap shot it first, but then I saw the D was like kind of more to the right side, so I toe drag it and it bounced over his stick, and luckily I got on my stick and just shot it.
Being the resilient group we are, going into this overtime, the second overtime especially, we knew we had them. We had tons of legs left. We saw them kind of dying down a little bit, and for us as a team, we have a ton of resiliency. We're a hardworking group, and I think that's paid off in all the overtime so far.
We pretty much know what they're about, and they know what we're about. It's just a matter of getting healthy and making sure that the trip over is good, and we work on some special teams, I think.
And the Stampede will look to close out the series and hoist the cup on Chicago's home ice in the suburb of Geneva, Illinois. First up on Friday night. If the Steel can avoid elimination, they play Game 4 again the following night. The only way we'll see the Herd back at the Denny is if they have to play a decisive 5th game a week from Tuesday, but certainly the Stampede, hoping that does not happen and they can close it out next week. Well, down by 2 after a period last night and on the brink of elimination in the NAHL's Robertson Cup semifinals, the Aberdeen Wings stormed back to score 3 unanswered goals, the latter of which was an overtime winner from Nick Sicoli to keep their season alive and set up a winner-take-all 3rd game tonight for the right to play for the Cup on Tuesday. The Wings hoping to feed off of last night's momentum and a big contingent from Aberdeen that's been cheering them on all week. And this is how you do it. A few minutes into the first period, Jonathan Bendorf bends it home. And the Wings, for the first time in this series, take the lead first, 1-0. Matt Vernon, the goaltender of the year, the MVP of the division, the son of a former Stanley Cup champion. That's why he's so good with saves like that. Keeps it at 1-0. And in the second period, the Wings would add on Stepan Picorni to Max Salpeter. And he risked that one home. They would add an empty netter. And the Aberdeen Wings are going to play for the Robertson Cup Championship. They win the series actually 2-1. It's a 1-game winner-take-all championship on Tuesday night at 7:30 in Blaine. Quite a feat for an Aberdeen team that's only a few years old in the NAHL.
Last night, after we put that first period aside from us, our guys were playing with a ton of confidence. And obviously, you win a game in overtime last night, you're going to ride that into today. Well, I think it'd be unbelievable. It's an operation that's only been in existence for 9 years, and we've been to the Robertson Cup, 2 of the last 3. And, these guys this year have been an extremely great group to work with.
The defending national champion Augustana Viking baseball team is 1 win away from defending their NSIC tournament crown. With their place in the NCAA tournament field already assured, a second consecutive NSIC title might be enough for them to earn the right to host the Central Regional. The Vikings needing to beat Minot State to do that in today's championship in St. Cloud, and the Bats were a booming from the beginning. Ryan Nickel with a drive to the gap in right center field. That goes as a double and makes it 2-0. We're still in the third inning. It was a big one for the Vikings. Nate Crossman singles up the middle. 2 runs come in to score, and it's 6-0 Augustana after 3. Bottom 5, they would pile on in a big way. 1 on and 1 gone off the bat of Sam Byers. Augustana went up 9-0. Now, if you're like me, you thought the game was over, so you were a little surprised to look a few innings later to see that Minot had closed to within 2 runs. But the Vikings quashed the comeback a little bit later in the 8th inning. That's Riley Johnson with a laser out of the park. And then the next batter, a few batters later, is Byer. And, yeah, you can drop the bat when you tattoo it like that. 2-run shot, his second of the game. That makes it 13-8. And then it was just basically time to celebrate. Seth Miller comes on to get the final strikeout. He picks up the save. For the second straight year, Augustana, your NSIC tournament champs, they win it 13-8.
Speechless. I can tell you can't feel any different than last year. It's the same feeling. It's great. It's amazing. This group of seniors is awesome to be with, and just to celebrate another one is sweet.
And they will indeed host the Central Regional, and that pairing's just announced. We don't have the full schedules yet. We'll update that on our website, KDLT.com. Vikings, the #1 seed. They host Oklahoma Baptist. The road to the World Series and maybe a second straight title will go through Sioux Falls. Now, the Viking softball team was back in Sioux Falls after a memorable and dramatic weekend of their own in Winona. They won the Central Region Championship, winning 2 out of 3 from Winona State, including a nail-biter yesterday to go to the College World, to move within 2 wins of the College World Series for the first time in 7 years.
Just finally, like in my head, just finally, like we kept saying. Olivia said it to me before. Every inning she went out, she's like, keep having fun, the game's going to give back. The game will give back. The game will give back. And there's a lot of times that we could have got nasty, we could have complained, we could have moaned and groped and everything like that, but we just kept going and being respectful and just playing the game to its integrity, and it finally gave back, and it's so rewarding.
Augustana will head to Edmond, Oklahoma to begin the best of 3 Super Regional with top-seeded Central Oklahoma. We don't have the official start times yet, but we do know that Game 1 is going to be on Thursday, with Games 2 and 3 likely the following day. What a weekend of sports it has been in South Dakota. A lot of teams nearing potential championships. The Aberdeen Wings, Sioux Falls Stampede 1 win away, and of course the Vikings baseball team will host the Central Regional. We're back in 1 moment.